She is. She's meeting with the fire department right now.
Okay, well, I won't go out and ask you about something else.
Looking at the thing.
Sherry has a copy.
Yeah.
Right. Ready?
Yep.
You're good, Kitty.
Okay.
Pull your microphone closer.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. It is 4 o'clock and today is May 30th, 4 p.m. And Ms. Lambert is going to lead our flag salute. Please rise.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building, on the Borough website, and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mrs. Ball Miller? Here. Ms. Lambert?
Here.
Mr. McCaffrey?
Here.
Ms. Snyder?
Here.
Mayor Davis?
Here.
On the agenda for this evening, we are required to hold a public hearing on a proposal that we've received. Oh, is she available?
Just to let the public know, by statute, we have to have a transcript of this section of the meeting. So there was a court reporter who is online virtually. So we just want to ensure that the court reporter knows that this is the portion of the meeting to be transcribed.
Thank you. So in accordance with the New Jersey Supply and Public-Private Contracting Act, the borough solicited requests for proposals for long-term, perpetual, full-service maintenance and asset management from a firm that has integrated maintenance and professional services for water storage vessels, for which the borough has two. So we have a concrete reservoir and we have an elevated steel tank. So both of those assets would be under this contract. So in the proposal, the executive summary for the proposal that we're looking to award to was by Utility Service Group Water Solutions, LLC. It's a company called USG Water Solutions. They manage critical assets and have been doing so for over 50 years. They have 11 service centers, 120 active crews, 470 employees, and they protect and serve 8,000 assets like this nationally. Under the company profile, they have a Georgia headquarters. They are financially stable and they offer a work guarantee, and they have certified field personnel. Under key personnel, service capabilities and technological resources, they offer engineering services for the work that we will need, certified inspectors, washout crews, painting crews, repair and service equipment, and we do have a local water system consultant in New Jersey. And they have considerable insurance resources to protect their work. Under safety, health, and quality assurance, they have a robust health and safety training program for their employees and contractors, safe work planning and PPE use, environmental health training, quality assurance for their work. Under asset and risk management, they offer, they analyze aging infrastructure and offer proactive maintenance. The life cycle of an asset can be indefinite if maintained properly. It increases the sustainability of our water system. So under the maintenance program, Beach Haven would retain ownership of these assets, but it would streamline our business model as they offer engineering services, legal compliance, condition assessment, preventative maintenance, painting. They would also provide emergency services, security, waste management, active mixing systems, and site management, including the cell carriers and the antennas that are on the tower. They would also manage the removal or upgrade or replacement of those. Under scope of work and pricing, they are spreading the costs over a period of time. They have the initial first 5 years of a 20-year contract includes some initial renovation costs. So year 1 through 4 for the reservoir tank would cost the borough about $343,000 per year for the first 4 years for that initial renovation of the reservoir tank. After that, our maintenance costs would dip to $36,900 in year 5. And then they're limited to an escalation of 5% per year. In year 20, the maintenance cost per year for the borough would be $62,188. So that's a significant cost savings for us over the years as maintenance and repair and emergency response engineering is on the contractor. The elevated red tank, the initial renovation would cover years 2 through 5 of the contract for $413,000 per year, years 2 through 5. And then year 6 would be at $56,304 through year 20 at the same 5% escalation, $91,634,000 for year 20. So we did look at their client references. Long Beach Township has 5 water service assets through this company. Hamilton Township has 3, and Barnegat also has 2. The borough expects this firm to continue providing services beyond year 20 as well, with exterior coatings, overcoats, renovations, inspections. This contract also, when we have to be clear for the public hearing, that there is no concession fee that the contractor is offering the Borough of Beach Haven. There's no monetary benefit that is being paid to the public entity from this contractor. So the next step after this public hearing about this proposed long-term asset management contract is that we will apply to the local finance board. We will apply to the Board of Public Utilities and also the DEP, Bureau of Safe Drinking Water, for final approval before we can enter into a contract of this size. So at this time, I'll answer any questions from council on the proposed agreement. And I do have a draft contract that we have drafted with our attorney, and then we'll open it up to the public with any questions.
In addition, the public will have 7 days from the close of the hearing today to submit any written statements you'd like us to include in the record, which will then be sent to the local finance board as part of this application.
No, I've sat in on a meeting before and it's so involved, our water system, far more than I ever realized. And I think this is probably the way to go.
Very important.
This is Nancy. I think, it'll
Yes,
save.
we
the-
can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
I'm not muted.
Go ahead, try now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay, I just want to say that I have talked to Sherry about this and looked at it, and it appears that it's going to save, if you compare what we've spent on this system over the years and the constant maintenance, it certainly appears that it will save the borough money. That's all I have to say. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any member of the public wish to be heard on this during this public hearing for this agreement? Come on up. Come to there's one in the back and then you can come on up. State
come
your
up,
name and
yeah.
address for the record.
Good
And I-
afternoon. Bob Mulhall, 121 7th Street, Beach Haven,
Can you spell your last name for the court reporter?
Mulhall. Sorry, I didn't lift my prescriptions at home.
That's okay.
I want to thank you all for what you guys do for this great town. My question is, and it just wasn't covered, but I'm sure thought about, is there a performance bond attached to this supplier that in the event failure of any sort due to him, we're covered?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
that was
absolutely.
it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Good question. Sir? You state your name and address?
Yes, hi, Joel Sklar, 1 Center Street, unit number 17.
If you could
First Beach-
spell your last name for the court
Okay,
reporter?
SKLAR.
Thank you.
And hopefully a simple question. I'm just curious, does this type of thing typically get paid out of the general tax revenues? Or I know we get a separate like water bill and sewer bill. Is it paid for out of the, that's the separate allocation for water and sewer?
I believe that the initial repairs, the substantial amounts, the 300 and 400,000 in the first 1 through 5 years will be paid through long-term financing. And then the maintenance amounts annually would be covered under our operating budget. And I don't think we're anticipating any rate increase.
Oh, okay, right, but how is it funded? How is your operating budget funded? Is it through the separate assessments for
It's through
water?
our normal water rents that you're
Okay, great.
existing, that you're already paying.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else? Anyone on Zoom?
Yes. Amanda Burden.
Hi, I agree with what's been said. Thank you for looking into this and for all
Just
that you
state your
do.
name and address for the
Oh,
court reporter.
sorry, Amanda Burden, 218 Amber Street, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
So I agree with what's been said. Thank you for all you do, and not just on this, but for all the work you do for council. I just had a question. It seems Beach Haven's water is pretty hard. I don't know if it's possible or if that's part of what's going into this, or if you've already covered my question, but is it possible for them to make the water less hard, take into account any of the additional chemicals that are in the water? Is there anything like that that they would do, whoever's going to maintain the water?
I'm not familiar with that, but I can talk to our licensed operator, Amanda, and I can send you an email, let you know what I found out.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? No? Okay. I think that's it.
Okay, at this time, we will close the floor for the public hearing and move on to the next item of the agenda.
Right. And the court reporter can be excused now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have minutes for approval without formal reading of April 25th, 2024 agenda meeting.
So moved.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Ordinance 2024-13C, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey to amend Chapter 45, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 45, alcoholic beverages, Section 10, prohibiting teen nights within the borough. Final reading.
Since this is a final reading, we will open the floor to public comment at this time. So please, if you're in the room, please come up to the microphone one at a time, state your name and address, and raise an electronic hand if you'd like to speak. Thank you.
Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Anyone in person? Okay, come on up.
Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Frank Borelli. You want my resident address or,
Doesn't matter.
okay, 12 East Calvary Drive, New City, New York, and I have 2 homes here in Beach Haven.
Okay.
I'm here tonight to talk about this resolution. I really give you guys a lot of credit. I appreciate all your work. I served 16 years on my town board in New York. I just retired at the end of last year. And I know all the work you go into what you do, and I know it's a thankless job. So
Thank you.
I'm not here to attack you or just to say what I'm thinking about this resolution. So as I understand the teen night resolution that you have before you, it's to take effect this year. And I know when at least my experience, whenever we had any kind of resolution that was going to negatively affect the business, we tried to give them an opportunity to kind of phase it in, if you will. And again, I actually introduced a resolution in New York based on what you did here in Beach Haven. We did the outdoor seating.
Mhm.
So I thought that was such a great idea, and we did it, and it helped our businesses. Again, your businesses here in town, whether it be the bars, the restaurants, the shops, they're your lifeline, right? The taxes that come in is what really offsets all the resident taxes. So I look at this, again, I don't think it's a great idea. I understand the concerns. I have 3 daughters. They all went to the teen nights. I didn't like when they went. I know some of the stuff that goes on is, less than perfect. But I also was a teenager myself down here, and we did what we did on the beach because we didn't go to the teen night. So we all know that happens, the things that we don't want to have happen. But I think sometimes it's better in a controlled environment, like in a restaurant where there's somebody watching over it, and again, the police know about it. They're outside. We kind of keep an eye on it. But my point to you tonight is, if you're going to adopt this, which I, again, would probably speak against, I understand you have your reasons and whatever they may be. But if you are going to do it, try to be kind, at least reasonable about it in terms of how you implement it. And maybe amendment to reflect the date that you have for June 19th of this year to give this particular facility, restaurant, bar, an opportunity to have other entertainment, do other things there that they wouldn't otherwise have at this late date. So that's really what I want to ask you guys if you could consider tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone on Zoom? No? Anyone else? Mr. Cunningham?
There's someone behind you.
Scott Cunningham, 6th Street. Teen night. Teen night had its place 30 years ago. This is when children could ride their bicycles or walk there. That was a beautiful thing. We're busing them in now from out of county, out of state. We're bringing in children without their parents. I mean, you get gangs of kids on the street. What's going to happen? Remember 7-Eleven last year and the year before? You get that many children on the street, we have problems. On teen night, I have to defend my property. It's a sad day to say that in Beach Haven. I'm right in the middle between 9th Street and Center Street. The bar, teen night, whatever, only holds so many children. What's really killing the whole thing is the internet, social media. You get a couple thousand kids on social media and bingo, they're all in Beach Haven. And the facility can only handle so many children. I mean, it's not like it was 30 years ago where they rode their bicycles from Beach Haven Terrace or Holgate. We all walked there. This is a different animal. Their parents drop them off. We have a bus system that takes them right into town. They're renting buses out of town, out of county, and out of state to come here. It's not just teen night. We have to stop the influx of teenagers. Got to remember our great, wonderful governor, there's nothing you can do to them. They taunt our police officers. When I was a kid, you did that, you got a good beating, went home and got a second beating. Chief Markowski, he's our #1 safety officer. He and I don't always see eye to eye on a lot of subjects. He says no. They'll overrun the town. There's not enough police officers to defend our town. Finally, I pay the same tax rate as people that live south of Pearl Street. I deserve the same respect, quiet, and quality of life. Everyone in Beach Haven does. I mean, just because I live up in the center of the business district doesn't mean I don't deserve this. I'm friends with everybody that's involved on both sides of the fence here. I don't want to make any, but we have a problem with teenagers. There's nothing we can do to them. Our governor has said so. And there's a brain dead human being. I mean, they should be taken out and tried, and their parents should be thrown in jail, but we can't do that. of
Thank you
course.
very much.
Thank you very much. Time's up.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone else in the audience? No one on Zoom?
Yeah, we have one more on Zoom.
Okay,
All right, you want to go for Paul? Paul Sullivan.
Yes, my name is Paul Sullivan. I live at 126 Glendola. I'm not in favor of teen night. I'm a lifelong resident of Long Beach Island. I was raised on 83rd Street. I moved to 9th Street as an adult, and I now live on Glendola Avenue. I think the prior gentleman said it best. Beach Haven has been overrun at times by teenagers. Frankly, probably not by Beach Haven teenagers, but by many of the teenagers who travel from other parts of Long Beach Island or the mainland. I moved from 9th Street to Glendola Avenue primarily because 9th Street was overrun. It was tragic. I moved from 9th Street from neighbors that my wife and I and our children very much enjoyed, but packs of kids night after night would travel up and down the street loud, leaving trash and things that I wouldn't mention publicly or over a Zoom in our trash cans, motoring through neighbors' yards when we would politely ask them to lower their voices or not loiter, the things that they would say back to us. When the police on their bicycles would stop them, the abuse that they would endure was second to none. And because I have 3 minutes, I'll finish by sharing with the audience what happened just in Wildwood this past weekend. The New Jersey Shore community of Wildwood closed its popular boardwalk for a few hours early Sunday after hordes of unruly, undisciplined teens descended on the walkway, local officials said. Police shut down the boardwalk to the public just after midnight because of receiving a number of complaints about extremely large number of young adults and juveniles visiting the boardwalk for Memorial Day weekend. The summer hasn't even begun, folks. A statement from authorities said city officials did not cite specific incident, so there wasn't even an incident that led them to shut down the boardwalk, but claimed that cops were addressing civil unrest. Conditions began to deteriorate despite the presence of efforts by local police officers and multiple mutual aid law enforcement agencies. The statement adds, Wildwood Mayor Ernie, can't pronounce his last name, said the city had declared a state of emergency, which allows it to send abnormally
30
large
seconds.
presence to the area. I rest my case.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is William Barris, and I live at 100 Northwest Avenue, Beach Haven. If you're going to limit me to 3 minutes, that's not possible. This is something that directly impacts my business and another business that's here. So if you're going to waive the 3-minute rule, then I'm happy to speak to you tonight. But if you're not going to waive it, then we're going to have to take a different route.
Say that again?
So I need more than 3 minutes.
Well,
I guess
We're just-
after
we're just-
everyone else speaks, you could speak again.
Then I'll come back. Okay.
Okay.
anyone else in the room?
Eileen Jacob, 315 Iroquois. I think it's time for us to support our chief of police. We can't keep the kids under control. Last summer when I was driving through town and I didn't realize it was teen night, and I was like, who are these thousands of children lined up on the sidewalk? How somebody pulled out a weapon? I mean, we're so lucky that nothing like that has happened, but it's possible. A 16-year-old girl or boy does not belong in a bar because it's just, they drink before they go. So why do we want these children in our town? Sure, some of the kids that live here go, but most of the kids are out of towners, at least from what people have said. I can't vouch for that, but I think it's time to get over the teen night. There used to be so much trouble when it was at the catch, and it never ended. It didn't end until Bird and Betty's came, you know, the cops coming and all that. So I think it's just time just to get rid of teen night so our town can be normal again, because it's busy enough as it is. Like Scotty Bob said, town, he has to protect his property, and he's not the only business owner in Beach Haven that has to protect their property at night. And it's not just teen night, it's every night. And like this past weekend, you know, a local business person I know said, you know, the people are just sitting at their property and there's no need for them to be there, kids hanging out. So I just think it's time to get rid of teen night. And I don't think, you know, why should we postpone it for another year? I think now is the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We all have someone on Zoom. Have to.
Lisa Lane.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you all for your time. I am not.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Lisa Lane, and I'm at 900 North Delaware Avenue. I live basically in the parking lot of Bay Village. The beauty of a teen night to me is that the mob from Bay Village is at least separated. When there's no teen night, there are mobs of kids by the hundreds. It is frightening to live here. At least 25 kids a night urinate on my fence. There are fireworks blowing up. The police have no control. At least if they're going to other locations, our mob is smaller here. And if they're at the catch, isn't the catch responsible for what's going on inside of that facility? And is there a way for them to maintain control of the kids at that juncture? Because here, the police are unable to do anything because of Murphy. And I will say it is absolutely frightening to live here and to watch what goes on. So I don't think teen night is a great thing, but at least it separates the mob. Something has to be done. Maybe there's another way to entertain these kids, but one day there's going to be a shooting or something awful here. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. And thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Melissa Borelli, 12 East Cavalry Drive. Frank, my husband just spoke. I wasn't going to speak until I heard that everything was blamed on teen night. I want to reiterate the last conversation. It's not about teen night. Last year, every single night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, at least 50 kids on the end of my block playing music till 1:30 in the morning. The police came. I know that their hands are tied, so I know they can't control this many people. I even had spoke to some of the kids and said, you better leave. You're going to get in trouble. The police are here. And they're like, no, we get away with it all the time. I know they can't help it, but I'm going to tell you right now, it has nothing to do with teen night. Yes, maybe a little, but not. They're here every night. Every night. I had to call the police 3 times. I've never called the police on anybody. I have 3 daughters. We've all have had parties, had people over. I know what it's like to have teenagers. And honestly, they're not all bussed in, because my cousin has a house down here and their kids who are teens told me all the kids that text each other live down here. They know them all. They work down here. They live down here. So getting rid of teen night, I agree, is wrong, because they need a place for all those people to go. It's every night. Every night this happens. So we need a place for the kids to go and have a good time, because otherwise there's nowhere for that age group to go. I remember when my kids were little, we went to Fantasy Island. Now they're over 21, so they go to the bars. But that age, they have nothing to do. So I don't know why in the past couple of years it's been such a big problem at Congregate, because teen night's been around for as long as I remember. My kids were 14 and they're 29, 26, and 24. So there's a bigger problem. And to hurt businesses just because you're blaming everything on teen night is really wrong. People are trying to make a business down here. This is what we thrive on down here, is all the business being open. And if they have a place to go, then at least they're congregated. There's police outside. Hopefully they can get more security and things like that. I wish they were all away from my block, but they're there every night last year. Every neighbor on my block had a call like at least one night. It didn't make a difference. They came back. They came back the next night because they didn't get in trouble. And I don't know, I know they can't give 500 kids, but I was there. I got abuse from some of these kids. I was like, you guys better get away. You're going to get in trouble. And they were being treated as if they were laughing with them. I just want to say that you cannot blame this whole thing on teen night. It's been around forever, and this just started happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Lisa. No, not Lisa. Sorry.
Melissa.
Melissa, thank you.
Someone on Zoom, BC.
Come on up, Cookie, and you can wait.
Sorry.
Go
Is it
ahead,
my-
state your name and address for the record.
It's Barb Kona, 100 Northwest Avenue. Hi, everybody. I just have some comments about teen night. I live in a location where I have watched kids pregame in their cars, drinking hard alcohol, vomiting in the street. And then, by the way, come back and get back in those cars and drive home afterwards. I'd like to ask, what good comes from teen night? I'm just wondering, I understand it's a positive thing for the business owners. As a parent, I never allowed my kids to go to teen night 25 years ago. Didn't allow it because I felt that it was not a proper environment at that time. It has gotten much worse. I've seen a photo that has been circulated in town. Honestly, it looked like a strip club rather than a fun environment for teenagers. And I would imagine that if most people saw one of those photos, they would probably never want their child to attend teen night. And I'm also asking if the people who support this think that teen night is so positive, why aren't they lobbying to have it 5, 6, 7 days a week? Yes, kids need something to do, but I don't think it's teen night. They really need to be watched by their families, and it's just not a good thing for Beach Haven. I mean, this past weekend, the scene was really crazy in town, and I feared for people's safety crossing the street, riding bikes, and so forth. I just don't think it's a good idea to continue with this. And I'd also like to ask, how many summer cops have been hired, and are we short any summer police officers? And if we are, we have no business bringing more people into town when this crowd, this age group cannot be dealt with due to the laws as they stand. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Barb. Cookie?
Hi, Cookie Messick, 19 6th Street. I just heard people say, like, let's divide the problem. Let's make 2 locations where everyone will be. Oh, good. And I am in favor, the business and the people in the business involved are people I've known for years, people my kids work for. You know, I'm very sorry about that. But even Jamie, you might not have noticed it on our street. This weekend and every weekend, because I'm Ocean Block, I have 2 houses, 2nd and 3rd from the beach. On Sunday night, we broke up a fight in my driveway. And the same kids that I heard, I'm in the yard all the time and they can't see me because it's like kind of covered with trees. And the shit I hear, excuse me, the stuff I hear is unbelievable. Now I have in the past, I have grabbed a girl who I know was assaulted and held her there. I've done other things like that. And these kids, and they know each other. They're rolling around in my driveway. The one kid is plummeting the other. My daughter's boyfriend pulled them off of him. And I hate to say, I think poured his beer on his head, but which you could probably get arrested for. But the thing is, I don't see a solution, that it's a solution to the rest of the problem. And the same thing is if you live south, like the gentleman who moved from 9th Street, you have no idea. I'm almost the end. The Borellis live on 5th. You know, we're almost the end of where they attack, because when they're done at teen night, they come back our way. The beach curfew is not something that can ever work. To imagine you have a beach curfew is crazy. I live at the beach. Kids, 1 billion kids go past me every night up to the beach, close enough to be coming from Center, because now they don't go as much on Taylor and that because they know the cops will be there. So there's I've seen awful things on my street, and my kids were no angels. People know them here, but at the same time, there weren't so many. It's not a problem as the kids are worse. It's that the group mentality is functioning here. And I hate to say it, it'll be hard to beat even without teen night. It's still going to happen. And I'm very sorry, because when I was a kid, we went to lifeguard dances. We went to dances at the Surf City Firehouse. This is the 60s. And we went to the roller rink. You know, we had things. Truthfully, Beach Haven didn't have anything, but we had the movie theater. So we went, so if anybody congregated, it was at the movie theater. So that's it.
Thanks,
Thank
Cookie. Anyone else? Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill Hudson, 23 West Washington Avenue, Beach Haven Inlet. You know, we have to find public safety and the businesses in town. I'm sure we're all aware of that. But, you know, there's just not that much to do for kids. We have no basketball league. We have no 3-on-3 basketball. We have no volleyball league. We have no soccer league. We have no kickball league. We have basically nothing. And to take away teen night, yes, Mike said he's going to get some security, which I understand he has already hired. He said he would hire some off-duty police officers, which I would agree with if he's going to do that. But the solution is not get rid of teen night, because we're already beyond Memorial Day. The season has started. And for him to try to switch from teen night to regular night and get bans, you can't get them now. It's too late. Bans are gotten 6 months ago. So we're going to have a big financial issue. What I think is the compromise. The compromise is, let's let him have his security, have his off-duty police officers, give him this summer to see how that works, because that's new. There's no security bin like he's hired and no off-duty police officers. So we have new things on the table. You may also want some new things on the table, but there's got to be a compromise somewhere, because he can't go from, nothing and the season's already started. It's going to cost some money. Okay. And I don't think that's the right decision anyway. I think we just have to do better with the teams, with the security, with the police officers off duty. And I think that's the right way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ready?
Anyone else?
John Wachter.
Hi, am I working now? You hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. John Wachter, 219 Second Street. Just wanted to chime in. 30 years, I raised my kids here, and times have really changed, and things need to change, because going back to my sons who are now 40, my daughter's over 30, they were around town, but they came home, they played wiffle ball and frisbee. They even played hockey with all the police officers. I mean, they had things that they did, and they went to Barry's for ice cream, and they went to the Chegg, and all these different places. But now they knew most of the people that were around town. These are an awful lot of kids that are coming from out of town, and it wasn't like that before. And worse yet, I mean, they were responsible, and they knew the people around town were going to keep an eye on them. Well, those days are gone. The police have lost their power. There's really not any consequences for the kids. And I feel for the police officers. There's no fear. There's no consequences. They make fun of them. It's ridiculous. So I really don't know the answer. But I know it's deeper than just teen night when you see what the kids that are on the street and the numbers of kids. And with the other towns reacting so severely, Seaside, Ocean City, and Wildwood, if they start being uncomfortable there, they're going to look for another place to come. So by whatever means, give the police more power, and I hate to be a police state. I hate to say we're going to walk around Beach Haven, there's going to be a police officer on every corner. So it's a really complicated issue, but it is one that I'm glad I'm not sitting in your seats having to deal with, because it's difficult, and it's across the board in the shore communities. So ideally, people should bring their kids home, let them party in the yard and hang out on the porch and so forth. But that's not going to happen. It becomes the council's job to babysit these children. Thank you, and keep up the good work. We appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you, John.
Uh,
Anyone else in the room?
Lori Anderson, 1001 West Avenue. First, for you on Zoom, the people sitting in the seats cannot hear you. I don't even know if the council can hear you, but
We
we're
can hear
missing
them.
a lot of your comments, but thank you for speaking up. Next, I'm going to ask the council to seriously consider doing away with teen night. This has been kicked down the road for decades now. It is a public safety concern. And, You know the troubles. It's costly. The volume of kids are dangerous. I think parents and the kids themselves, we do have basketball courts. We do have a ball field. We do have areas for outside play and recreation. It's concerning that it's a safety concern. So that alone, and I would think, tells you that, you know what, we got to not have teen night. Your police chief said so, and I think there's enough people in the room here that would agree that it's time to call it a day with teen night. And you know what the problems are. You're the voters. You make the decisions. So I hope you will make the right one this time around. It's important.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Suzanne Fairley.
Might be muted. Is she muted? That is someone in the room.
You can go to someone else.
Okay.
We'll come back.
The gentleman that forgot his sunglasses, reading glasses, come on up. Prescription. Oh, I'm sorry. Take your time.
Welcome to my life.
Oh,
Respect.
Name and address again. I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
Name and address again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bob Mohall, 7th Street. The old Aretha Franklin song, Respect. My wife and I are each one of 7 siblings. We've grown up with kids all our lives. Kids are different today. They're not bad, they're not good, they're different. I just question whether respect that I had, my wife had, that you folks had, is of the same level that it is today with them. Last summer, I saw a police officer's car driving down the street that's in, what's on the Ocean Avenue? Okay, whichever one it is. I've only been here 33 years. He had his lights on, crowd of kids walking in front of him, flipping him the bird. And it was, Murphy, one of them even said, "You can't touch me, you can't do anything to me." Those officers, I take my hat off to, because they have as tough a job as you guys do, trying to control something that maybe can't be controlled. But I think respect has to come back, and somehow the parents have to be involved. There's no young parents in this room here. If there is, again, my poor eyesight, there's got to be a transfer of responsibility to the parents, mindful of the kids. How do you do that? I don't know. I got lucky. Our kids really, well, one got arrested once, but that's a story for a different day. But I don't know how you fix it. My house, I've had bicycles stolen. I remember walking out of my front door, and as the band of kids were going through that street that I can't name, and they threw beer bottles up in the air and busted, and I could tell it was Miller because it was clear glass. And it was not that late at night, but other gentleman said, it's the mob mentality. I always told my kids, if you had my sons, you have an IQ of 100. If you're with 3 of your friends, you automatically have an IQ of 25, the mob mentality, especially teenagers. So kids got to have fun. They got to get controlled. I don't know how we do it, but I know just last week, I think there was or last night, maybe a stabbing in Ocean City of a 15-year-old boy. What are we waiting for? Really? What are we waiting for? Thank you.
thank you very much, Bob.
Try this again. Suzanne Fairley.
Hi, Suzanne Fairley, and thank you for your patience. I finally learned how to unmute. 24 years at 219 Jeffries. I have 4 teenage grandchildren who don't want to go to teen night because they've told me how bad it is. My one question is, has anybody considered contacting Governor Murphy and getting the other townships to contact Governor Murphy to tell him how horrible this decision that he made a few years back has really impacted everybody in the shore communities. That's all. Thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else in the room?
Anyone else in the room? Mr. Batista?
Good afternoon, everyone. So what I've heard today
Name and address,
is
please.
Michael Batista, West Avenue. Beacon. A lot of talk about the teenage problem in town, and we've heard this for some time. I heard a lot about what was going on this weekend. The Marlin did not have a teen night this weekend. I don't think you can blame the problems that this town is having with teenagers on teen night. We're never all going to agree on teen night, but certainly teen night does provide a supervised environment for kids to get together, socialize, meet new friends, dance, and have a good time. And that's what teen night's all about. I don't want to be fighting with this town over teen night. This whole issue came to me about a month ago, plus or minus. And I listened to what you told me about the problems with teen night, and I offered you a lot of suggestions for solutions. Hiring more security, working on bathroom issues, policing the inside of the place, and so forth and so on. To ask us now, right at the beginning of this season, to abandon something that we've planned for, advertised for, hired entertainment for, and most importantly, have no alternative. We went out in anticipation of this ordinance passing, looking for something that we could fill these vacancies with. And there's nothing out there. The people laughed at us. We were booked solid 6 months ago. So basically, you're cutting 2-3 nights a week out of our revenue, which when I hear that it only benefits me, that's not, and that really offends me, right? We're trying to keep the Marlin open year round. Teen night and the revenue from teen night is supporting that year round business. We made a generous donation to the Ocean County or to the Southern Regional High School. Got a wonderful thank you note from the soccer team. We've donated to Surflight, Debbie's Museum. So it benefits our town. There's adverse effects to it, and we want to hear what they are, and we want the chance to mitigate that. I am entitled, the Marlin is entitled to a chance to fix these issues. And we're entitled to that based on a settlement that took place in this same forum 15, 20 years ago. And I can't sit still and ignore that. And you're pushing me into a confrontational situation, certainly going to be litigation, when I'm here to say, what do you want us to do, and give us a chance to do it? And that's it. If it doesn't work, I'm not crazy, Mike. If at the end of this season, these problems haven't been resolved, I'm not going to sit up here and say, we'll try again. So I urge you to work together with us. Your businesses are most important. I realize my neighbor across the street is complaining that people use their bathroom. Well, people eat ice cream at my store, drop it on the floor, and I've got to clean it up. I don't go over there and say, come over and clean your ice cream up. We want to work with the town. I obviously have a big interest in this town. You have to give it a chance. And if you don't, you leave us no choice but to battle you. And we may lose, we may win, but it's going to be ugly for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
There were a few questions that were posed by the public that I think that Chief Markowski could answer. So if you don't mind, can we?
Well, I'd like to have Mr. Burris be able to have his time. And
Okay,
can
and then
we
are
do
you
5 minutes,
available?
Bill? Okay, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Limited.
5 minutes is
Thank
plenty.
you.
There's a history here, obviously. Sometimes we do teen nights and sometimes we don't. We are a split house. We have 3 partners. I'd prefer not to do the teen nights. I think if I left my restaurant open longer for the night, I'd do better. But my partner, Jenna, thinks that this is something that we should do. because she feels an obligation to the community to do that. It was great to hear about all the crowds we had this weekend, and yet, no, we had no teen nights this weekend. We had the largest crowds that I have ever seen in Beach Haven ever, in all three of my restaurants. It was never like this. So people are coming to this town just because they like it. I want to just talk about the neighborhood watch meetings that we've had now for 3 years. Kitty, last year you were involved. I'm at every meeting, and the year before, Jamie, I think you were at every meeting, Christina. And we talked with the chief and we talked to the officers. And I think the one thing that came out of it was, I have a security force of 28 people, probably as much as maybe they have police officers, I don't know. But we made sure that the one thing we did address was everybody in line, not carrying on, doing what they're supposed to do. And I think we run a pretty clean house when we do a teen night. I don't know much about the Marlin and what Mike does. I really don't know anything about that. But I can tell you that we think it gives teens an opportunity to get together and do exactly what Mike said: dance, play music, and have a good time with you know, in a nice environment. If you decide that you want to separate that, we just want to go back and look at the fact that I've been in the street, because I said I would, I'm on Dock Road side and Mel's on the other side, and we're keeping people out of the street like we were told to do. We've done everything that the police officers have told us to do. I know that at least with respect to Bird and Betty's, the last 2 years of teen nights, we haven't really had any issues. The issues are people who come in who have been drinking all night or whatever, and you know, you got to deal with kids like that. But that's going to happen, I think, no matter what. But just unilaterally saying you can't do teen nights anymore, we're going to have a problem with that, and it is going to be a legal issue. I'm telling you, it's just something we're not going to accept and roll over. But I want to add, and Mike, you weren't here at the time when we were doing these discussions. Chief was here and Chief wasn't here, but the best part about the neighborhood watch stuff was the officers were very forthright in talking to us. It was real conversation, and you know, you've got some officers that think when those kids are in teen night with us, that gives them a little bit of a break. That's it. That's what they said. Chief doesn't agree. He and I've had this conversation. We're never going to agree on everything, but you know, I think that we have to look at this in a big picture plate and see what's going on. I'm willing to do whatever we were asked to do, and I think we've complied with that. We've kept it clean. There have been no incidences at Bird and Betty's teen nights the last 2 years that I'm aware of, and I'm there, believe me, I'm in the street, like I said. I think you should reconsider this and put a trial in place, like Mike has suggested. Some things, he's going to do some things that he thinks are going to make up for some differences that could be out there. But if we think that the kids aren't here already, that they're being bussed in, I don't see that. I remember a time when buses were pulling. That's not what I see. I see mothers dropping their kids off and stuff. I don't see buses. I don't see people being bussed in. And the people we had this weekend weren't bussed in. They were here on vacation. This is a great, we have a great town. People love Beach Haven, and I really push it wherever I go. So, a little surprised about this weekend, though. I never saw anything like it this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We got to do something with this governor, and I think, did he repeal this? Did he repeal something this week?
No.
I was told yesterday that something was repealed. Let's forget.
Hello. All right. So just wanted to give some information, some questions that were asked. The biggest one is manpower. Manpower, over the past few years, we anticipated 34 officers. We had, a few years back, we had that many. Over the past few years, it's dwindled down. Last year, we were at 24. This year, we're at 22, and we already have 2 or 3 of them that are going to be gone before July 4th. Getting full-time jobs in other towns. During the weekend, this weekend, we had 11 SLEOs. So we're waiting for the other 11 to get out of the Class 1
Can you
Academy.
explain what that is?
SLEOs are the summer officers, which we used to have 34 of. So 11 of them, 10 of them are in the academy. When the academy is done, then we'll have 22. But like I said, we're going to lose 3 of them before July 4th. So that kind of leaves us in the problem where we were this weekend. And when we have teen nights, when we have a teen night, if we had one teen night, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. We could, guys can come in and we can stretch it out and then split up the manpower. But if trying to split up our manpower, the crowds at 7-Eleven, at Bay Village, at the parks, on the beaches is getting worse. So the 11 officers you have, hopefully coming up to 22, you're splitting them. So now you're going to have, 11 of them up there, 11 of them down here, because the crowd that comes for teen night starts at Center Street and works its way all the way around the corner and down to the first aid squad. So we're splitting up the problem is causing the biggest inconvenience for everybody. We don't have enough officers to go to other calls, other street ends. And I know somebody in here said that's moving further south down to like 6th Street. We're still up on 12th Street, 11th Street, 10th Street, 9th Street, because that's where they're all coming from the parks. But now we don't have enough officers to cover all those streets. And they go up, it's dark up on the beach. They go up there and hide. They go up there and fight. They go up there and break things. Public Works has to go up and replace dune fencing. So in the past, I do agree on teen nights, the crowd from Taylor Avenue would lessen. It would never go away. It wouldn't even cut in half, but it would lessen. So maybe a third of those kids would leave the park, go to teen night, have teen night, and then start making their way home. But we were split all over town. So dealing with this, we've been trying to get over the years, trying to get some of the problems fixed with teen night. The biggest problem is the line going around the corner. The line going around the corner is out of control. The kids are urinating in line, they're fighting in line, they're in line. They think they think it's a joke when they get the warnings and the curbside warnings and the station house adjustments. I know we tried to address some of these problems when we first started talking about this with Mr. Batista about doing online ticketing, and that was just completely ignored. We wanted to do online ticketing so we don't have a line outside for 2 hours. There's been no plan to address the bathrooms, the lack of bathrooms outside. The kids try to use the one bathroom that he has in the parking lot on the west side of the building. It's just not enough. And then a lot of times, there'll be 12 kids in there and nobody else can use it. So then they end up going into the parking lots and doing that stuff. I'm not against teen night. It had its place. It's just right now it's out of control. We don't have a way to control both situations, both places at once. It's a public safety issue. And I know a lot of people have seen some of the things that have happened in there. That hopefully if teen night does continue, that's something I think that could be addressed, hopefully. But in the past teen nights, teen night happens, they draw the shades and that's for a reason. On a regular adult night, you can look in the windows and see what's going on in there. But on teen night, it's not.
And the comment that was made about contacting the governor and requesting some assistance. Can you
Sure.
talk to that?
The only thing I can answer to that is that the council in the past has tried to reach out. I believe it was Mayor Davis had reached out in the past, and I know other municipalities on the island have reached out and they get no response. The state legislature does not want to address this. It was up to be changed prior to going out on their summer leave, and I was told that it's going to wait till after the summer for them to address any issues with teens.
Do you guys have any questions for them?
Yeah, Chief, I have a question. If the club hired off-duty policemen as security, do they have any authority once the kids would be out on the sidewalk or in the street?
As a police officer, we have the same authority if we're working off duty or not. I mean, it's pretty much, we can give warnings.
Mhm.
There's not much you're going to be able to do when you have these kids blocking sidewalks and, other people can't walk past. They have to walk out in the street. They have to cross the street just to get past. They can't be issued tickets for local ordinances other than curfew violations, some Title 39 stuff. And I mean, I can tell you right now, Beach Haven doesn't have the officers during the summer to do that. We have so many other things going on. Usually by August, guys are pretty much spent with chasing kids around. Now, you could ask other police departments in the area, but we've talked about it a lot up here about the liability dealing with these kids. I don't know of too many departments that are going to want to have their police officers working off duty dealing with teens. They don't want to, we really don't like getting involved in some of that stuff in our own towns, let alone go into a different town. And then let's say an off-duty officer from another town gets involved with something with teens out on the sidewalk, we still have to go. It's not like they can go back to our station and do a station house adjustment. We're still going to be responsible for taking those teens and with, less officers. And I will say that the council and the town has been great with giving us the opportunity to hire officers. We hired every officer. We hired everybody that applied that was able to be hired. But we hired everybody that applied. They're not applicants anymore. That's our biggest problem.
Thank you.
So when if they hire off-duty officers, they can't do anything more than what our officers are doing. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they can do what our officers are doing with the exception of bringing them back to the station. They can't come back into our police station without us. So they would be doing it, but they would also need us to go back with them.
So in essence, you can't do anything to these kids unless they're committing a crime.
Yes.
So it's petty
that's-
disorderly and disorderly persons. They could do whatever they want and you can't do anything to them.
Well, I say can't do anything to them. You can give them warnings and station house adjustments, which they laugh at and they think it's, almost, a title when you get, look, I got a warning, big deal. So that's our biggest problem. It's not that I want to get rid of teen night. It's that with the manpower we have, we can't control both places. It's too much. The kids are too out of control. It's not, it's just the way it is right now.
Any other questions? Nancy, anything for the chief?
No. I think we can all try to keep basically lobbying the governor's office. And I think maybe the mayors along the coastal areas could get together to lobby the governor to change some of his regulations regarding teenagers. This is a problem that we've all seen, and we're not the only ones as we're reading these articles. So that might be something that we need to really try to work on as a group.
Just as a point of interest, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but there was an article that the governor did a recap of the weekend, like a state of the state. And he said everything went very, very well. And he was very pleased. And when the issue of all the insanity in the shore communities came up, he said, that's getting overblown. That's really not as bad as they're making it sound. And I believe the PBA has some response to that. And I know the chief and Mike and I are meeting with Steve Steiners, the head of Ocean County Tourism. And we're going to hopefully get other shore communities tourism boards to, again, put pressure on. Who knows?
I can say that we had a lot of kids here this weekend. They were everywhere, but we had a lot of cars here. We had a lot of, I've never seen so many cars coming down this island. I don't know where they all went, but They were here. We did have a busy weekend. We didn't have any really bad incidents. We had some fights. We had some shoplifting, small stuff, but we were able to keep it under control. But we were also, again, which we didn't really want to do. We didn't want to keep the kids in the park, but when we try to keep them out of the park, the problem starts spreading around town and we're outnumbered. So we moved it back down to the park till 10 o'clock, then started enforcing the curfew, and we were not able to get kids out of town until after midnight. And we did issue curfew tickets, right? We issued, I think on your, the thing I wrote you was like 2,700 curbside warnings. It's like I said, it's not taken seriously. A curbside warning is a joke to them. But we were busy, but it was within reason. Anything else?
Thank you very much. I think at this time, we will close the floor to public comment. Oh, I think you already spoke. We've had a lot of. No, he didn't. He came up and came back.
He spoke in excess of the allotted time
Okay,
frame, so I
it's fine.
recommend letting
Okay,
anyone
yep. Come on
speak
back,
for an
Lori.
additional 2 minutes.
It's not that I don't want to hear you. I just don't know that.
Lori Anderson, 1001 West Avenue. We opened the meeting with a water tank management assessment at great expense to our town, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I really hope that, well, maybe we have to put that on hold because maybe we're going to get sued by Mr. Batista or Mr. Burris. I don't know. But I would hold off on voting on that water management thing unless we have lots of money if we are sued. And I hope you are not intimidated by his words because I'm sorry, Mike, teen night has been a problem for years. It comes up year after year. I don't know why it's such a surprise. That's all. Don't spend the water on the water management if we're going to get sued.
Thanks, Lori. Okay. All right. So I think at this time, we will, okay. Keep going all night. Come on, John. Come on down.
I'll be very quick.
Okay.
One
We have 3 minutes. Name and address.
John Halbrin, 319 Fairview Avenue, Beach Haven. As was stated, this is an extremely difficult issue because we have to balance public safety with what's good for the business community. And that's the decision you have to make. But I am concerned if because of this action that the future viability of the Marlin could be in jeopardy. And that concerns me because we should do everything we can to protect our businesses and it doesn't have to be teen night, but in other ways that we can protect our businesses. But at the same time, I'm very sensitive to what the chief is saying, and public safety has to be paramount, whether it's police, fire, first aid, other issues that came when I was president of the Taxpayer Association that came before us. We were trying to make that balance work. But the last thing as a taxpayer I would want to see would be litigation, because that does not benefit anyone. And it just serves to increases our taxes, which is not a good thing. So I hope we make the wise, right decision. And maybe we need a trial. I don't know, but that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay. Bill, one more time.
Got her second shot. I
Yep.
guess.
He's not a resident.
But he does live in Beach Haven, but real
Bill
quick.
Hudson, 23 West Washington Avenue, Beach Haven Inlet. As you heard many people say, there was no teen night this weekend. This is not a teen night problem. There was no teen night. And to shut teen night down is just going to make everything worse. Then you got the kids more madder. They have no teen nights. I think Mike needs, and Mr. Burris, they need, whatever security they need. Mike has said he has hired security. He said he will hire off-duty police officers. He will do a number of things that you guys suggest. I'm looking for a compromise, and so are a lot of people. Just to let it happen this summer. Let's see what it is. Like Mike said, if it doesn't work, he's not going to do it anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so at this time, I think we will close the floor to public comment. Does anyone on council wish to speak to this? Is that, or do you want to just go into the vote?
Do you want to go? I'll go. Okay, I have actually a bit to say. I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I got it all. First of all, the misconception about this being sprung, for the record, we reached out on March 15th to have the bar owners who participated in teen night come in. And I know, Mr. Batista, you told us you couldn't make it for another month. So that's why we had our meeting in mid-April. But the borough did make an attempt. And at that time, you did say you had your DJs all hired. So when you say you can't get entertainment, I'm kind of not sure because you do have people there that night. But I'm not going to get into that too far. But I just wanted, March 15th was the first time. Ideally, it should have been sooner, but March 15th, I think, was a reasonable amount of time also. Our chief of police, whose number one priority is to protect the community, has said it's too much for our town. And there's a variety of reasons, but the drawing of kids into our town is the number one. And granted, what happened this weekend, no, had nothing to do with teen night, anywhere up and down the coast. And for the record, Ocean City had the 15-year-old boy get stabbed. Wildwood had a state of emergency that they had to close their boardwalk. Seaside had multiple shots reported as being fired. Turns out they weren't, but the police were running all over the boardwalk and people were panicking. I think our Taylor Avenue bathroom saw a lot of damage again. This is the kind of thing that happens, and Beach Haven is now kind of ground zero for a lot of activity. We do have a lot of kids coming here, but teen night does bring in a lot more, and that is a huge concern. I had to laugh. One member of the police department said that he was over on the Taylor Avenue earlier, and he saw a mother come in and drop off her 15-year-old daughter, who was very nicely dressed, as you would expect. Mother drives away, daughter goes into the bathroom, comes out 5 minutes later, dressed like nothing her parents would ever allow her to do. This is the mindset today. Kids are kids, but it is, as the one gentleman pointed out, it's a whole different breed. And of course, they're going to try to get away with stuff. And unfortunately, this behavior is spilling into town. On teen nights, it is especially worse. As the chief told you, we don't have the manpower. And the towns, we're one of two towns. So when these kids want to laugh and dance and have fun, they're coming here. Make no mistake about it. Now, some of the other towns that have stopped them in recent years, Seaside Heights, Point Pleasant Beach, their police departments and administrators have said it is the best thing they ever did. So why is Beach Haven still encouraging this? We've got our problems as it is. We are adding on, in my opinion, by making these nights, something that is going to attract more and more and more. And make no mistake, they're coming from all over. Our police department has picked up chatter about, hey, come on down to Long Beach Island, we're going to go to teen night and then there'll be a fight afterwards. This is the kind of thing people don't see. And I guess I wouldn't either, except that I'm kind of, part of the borough and I get to talk to the chief and find out these little things. We're understaffed, we know that. And Mr. Batista mentioned beefing up security, and I think that's admirable. But at the end of the day, that security stops on his property. And all these problems that happen around town fall on our police department. And we already know the story there. Undermanned and hands are literally tied. So this is a hardship. We've heard business owners, and I don't know about the rest of you, but some have spoken to me privately. The businesses never like to speak out against another business. I get it. But how it affects them, how they have to close early, how they can't operate on those nights because the teens coming out of teen night. And when they come out, there are no shuttles or anything anymore. So guess where they're going? Well, they're at the beach. They're all over town. And now we've got an even bigger problem. As I said, the security is only good on the premises. The problems are out in the town, the littering, the theft, the public urination. We don't have an answer for that, and I still haven't heard one either. I went last time, I've been taking notes, I always do at the meetings, and it was interesting because outside of tonight, I didn't add it all up tonight, but in the previous week, since this discussion has started, we've had 33 people, either via email, in-person contact, letters to the editor, say, please don't, and we had 4 that said, please do. Tonight, you know, it's a little more balanced, but I think the people in this town are telling us they've had enough, and this isn't something that came up yesterday. This has been going on for years. We've had members of the first aid squad stand here and tell us about teen nights, showing pictures of drunken kids that they're called out, and while they're babysitting them, somebody's having a heart attack or something somewhere else, and they can't get to them because they're tied up. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, and again, the increased supervision would be a big help, but what is going on in there that we have seen the videos of really scares me, because if that's going on, who was supervising in the first place? I mean, was it a free-for-all? I mean, the chief mentioned the curtains are pulled down. It's like a little inside club and kind of anything goes. And that doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling either. I honestly don't feel this is in the town's best interest to continue with these. I don't want to influence anybody's business. I understand that. And that is a big, huge thing. But Mr. Batiste has been in business for almost 40 years in this town. He is a successful businessman. I have every confidence that he can continue to operate and find ways to make up that income. If you look around, Buckaloo's, Tucker, Black Whale, they all operate under a similar pattern, and they seem to be doing pretty well. So I think it can be done. Mr. Mack, I don't know very well. I've heard very good things about him, a young entrepreneurial spirit, and I think he can make more out of this club than what we're currently using it for. So like I said, I don't want to impede anybody's business, but when that business is putting constraints on the town and costing the taxpayers money, I think the time has come. I wish everybody well in this endeavor. I know that if teen night goes away, it will be a bit of a hardship for the owners, but I honestly feel that the town would benefit. Thank you.
Okay, one of the things that I see that is happening, because I worked the roads, and I worked down there when they were having teen nights, and it's nothing like it is today. They have the shuttle buses, which all they have to do is get, I don't know if they even come from the mainland, but I'm sure the people come in, they're coming from all the way down the island. There's buses coming from out of state. There's people coming from all parts of the state, because we are about the only one that has teen night. Okay. Mr. Batista got up here and sat there and said something about giving them a supervised place to be at. And I asked him at the last meeting, or maybe it was the one before that, who was supervising when this video was going on. And he said he wasn't there. And I asked him if his manager was there. No, he wasn't there either. And I said, well, then who was? It was one of his supervisors. I never did get a name on it, but it just doesn't seem like this is really being supervised. What it looked like in that video was a free-for-all, that they could do whatever they wanted to do in this place. So, you know what? I think it has run its course. I mean, this has been 30 years, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse every year. It's becoming a burden to this town. I've gotten numerous emails, and I would say better than 90% of them were to get rid of teen night, because it's nothing but a problem for the town. It's a problem for the police department. It's a problem for other businesses. Some of the other businesses are shutting down early just so they don't have to deal with these kids. So my personal opinion, it's time.
Thank you. Well, I think we can all agree that Governor Murphy's got to go, and anything we can do to get rid of him would really help everybody involved. I struggle. I'm really struggling with this. I've struggled. You know, we know everyone in town. We know all the business owners. Everyone either a friend or a colleague or a friend of a friend or a client or a, you know, the thing that I know we all agree on is that we support our chief and all of our officers. It's every year, I know it's a struggle for him to have enough police officers. We have raised the hourly pay. I think that we should raise it more so that we can, regardless of teen night or not, the teens are a problem in town. And I do think that we should really ante up and if we pay more money, then possibly we'll get more officers. I think anyone that's open 24 hours should be required to have security, such as 7-Eleven. And I know the Chegg has security, 7-Eleven has refused. It's a problem every single night. There are other issues. Teen night has been going a very long time, and I know that it can be problematic through the years. I think it's actually gotten better than it used to be because it used to be very wild back in the day. I think that I know that Colleen says you know, reached out in March, but I think there was even talk about going to an ordinance even before a meeting. And we did have a meeting. Mr. Batista was away. You know, I'm not defending him. It's just that I think this has been rather quick since it didn't come to us until May 13th. And I just, you know, and we're so pro-business and support our businesses. We have 10 weeks here to make money. And I am just really having a hard time penalizing a business that will stand to lose a lot of money in this summer because of the timing. And I know that they do have DJs lined up, but that's not what late night is. That wouldn't work. No one would come. They would lose money. They would not have to shut down. I think that it just doesn't seem fair to me. And I think that Mr. Batista and CJ Mack have promised that they will they've answered all of the issues that have arisen and that we've asked them about. And I have to have a little faith in them, maybe a lot of faith in them, maybe too much faith in them. But I think that we should give them a chance to get it right. And I don't care if teen night ever comes back again after this summer, but I think under the circumstances, we should give this business a chance so that they can make their 10 weeks. I think that they will do everything they can. Believe me, they're going to be under a microscope. I think that the teen problem is horrible. I think this last weekend was terrible up and down the Jersey Shore. I don't think it's fair to blame it all on teen night. And I do understand what the chief is saying, and he shouldn't have to show up. Let Mr. Batista, let the burden be on him. I think the main problem in this state and this generation is that our children are choosing vulgarity over values. And I think that is the problem. It begins at home, all of our homes. And it's heartbreaking. I have 5 kids of my own, and it's heartbreaking. So anyway, that's all I can say. Jamie? Sorry, mumbling.
I'll speak. So this teen night has been coming up every year since I've been on council. And I have been committed to exploring various avenues to maintain teen nights while prioritizing safety every year. Every year there's new issues. We come with concessions with the businesses, and they have done whatever they can. We hope that the concessions that are always put in place will allow the teens to continue to provide them with an opportunity to socialize with their peers. However, it's important to recognize now when the risks outweigh the benefits. Unfortunately, we must acknowledge that hosting teen nights is no longer safe in this community. Teenagers in large crowds possess safety concerns related to potential accidents and difficulty in managing emergencies. It's crucial to prioritize the well-being and security of both the teenagers and the broader community. While discontinuing teen nights may be disappointing for some, an ordinance that prohibits teen night is aimed at ensuring safety, which is vital for fostering a healthy community. While business innovation is crucial for growth and progress, it should never come at the expense of safety. Innovation should always be pursued within the boundaries of safety regulations and ethical considerations. While economic development of an individual business is important for prosperity, it should not come at the expense of public safety or community integrity. I wrote this down because I've been thinking about this all day and all week and all month. It's not fair to say that this is the first time that we have brought this up with the Marlon or Mr. Batista. I personally spoke to him in August and September when pictures started to arrive to the council about what was happening inside teen nights. So this was been fully aware to that business, and there was no plan or kind of anything put into place till again the borough decided to take it to a different level in March when we tried to arrange meetings and whatnot. So this is not a new thing. This has been not only brought up every year, but it was also brought up in August and September, but really just wasn't taken seriously. And my biggest concern and my biggest fear is that when are we going to take this seriously? When something happens here in Beach Haven? And is that when we're going to take it seriously? Is teen night going to solve the teen problem? No, it's not going to solve the teen problem, but it's going to give us a tool that we need to assist our police force into hopefully having a safe summer and to hopefully go forward with the atmosphere that we want to try to maintain here in Beach Haven as a family community. So this decision has been weighing on me, like I said, very, very heavily. I've known the owner, Mr. Batista, for over 25 years, I think. So this is, personally very, very difficult for me. However, I have a job to ensure the safety of this community first, no matter my personal relationships with anyone in this town. And I have to go with that.
Thank you. Nancy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make this short. I'm not a big fan of teen nights by any stretch of the imagination. And I am close friends with people that feel on opposite sides of the fence on this. And but I'm going to have to vote no to this ordinance because I really feel that we need to give Mr. Batista a chance to mitigate these problems. And he's agreed to go to online booking. He's agreed to let parents come in and see what's going on at teen night. He's agreed to decrease the number of teen nights and so on. I agree that, there's been talk about this for a number of years and it's been a problem in town, but the huge number of teenagers in town that are causing the problem, I do not believe are due to teen nights specifically. And this has all been said and I don't need to harp on it, but I do feel that I, as a councilwoman, have a duty to try to protect the town and financially. And I think these duties are strong. I do not want a lawsuit, which will, and just the hassle and the money related to a lawsuit. I think we can make it very clear that if Mr. Batista can't clean up teen night, that teen night will end, and that's the end of it forever. And if there were ever another ordinance to not allow any teen nights in Beach Haven, I would vote yes to that ordinance. But at this point in time, I really feel it is only fair to support a business and any business in town that would like to do this properly. And so therefore I will vote no to the ordinance. That's all I have to say.
To reiterate, a yes vote is a yes to stop teen night. Okay, just to be clear on your vote. We have
I'm having really a hard time hearing. Speaking the microphone, I could hear great up till now.
Motion to approve 2024-13C.
Motion to approve 2024-13C.
I'll second.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
No.
Mayor Davis.
No.
Motion approved. All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 120, authorizing a refund of tax overpayment. Resolution 121, authorizing the execution of a no-cost agreement with Surfline to host a surf camera at Center Street, Fifth Street, and Pearl Street beaches. Resolution 123, authorizing a shared service agreement between the Borough of Beach Haven and the Township of Long Beach in accordance with NJSA 48:8A-1 for Phase 3 of legal services for wind turbines. Resolution 126, consenting to the issuance of amusement licenses for Wainwright Amusements LLC for 2024. Resolution 127, awarding a contract to Mathis Construction for the 2024 drainage project, Ingleside Avenue, 3rd Street and 5th Street. 128, acknowledging the hiring of a part-time tax clerk. 129, authorizing to advertise for bids for the 2024 HVAC repairs, various locations. And finally, Resolution 132, authorizing reimbursement to Southern Ocean County Chamber of Commerce for electrical services in the area of Taylor Avenue.
Thank you. Is there anyone on council who would like to remove any of these for further discussion?
No.
No? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a
to-
motion.
Okay. I'll second it.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
I have a bill list this evening in the amount of $3,011,947.42.
Sure, everyone's had a chance to review the bills. Can I make a motion to approve the bills? Can I have a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second?
Second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to general discussion. Before I go to general discussion, I just wanted to make one quick announcement. I just wanted to make an announcement that early voting is available. If anyone is interested in not doing a vote by mail, but actually going to the polls early at the Ocean County, the Southern Ocean County Resource Center in Manahawkin, you can do that. It started yesterday. It goes until Sunday, I believe, of this week, so you can head over there. The schedule for that is on the Ocean County Clerk's website. Again, you can go there from any town and vote early if you're going to be away on Tuesday for Election Day.
Thank you.
We have some proposed ordinances. One of those is an ordinance that would establish a 3% transient occupancy tax. I know, like many of the businesses on the island, the borough is also looking for creative ways to increase revenue. Our expenses continue to rise, but yet we still are under many caps and exclusions and laws that we have to fit. It's making it harder and harder. We don't want to continue to raise taxes. We did propose some paid parking. I don't think that went over real great. So this is another one of the options that we've looked into. This is a 3% occupancy tax. Hotels and motels already pay this occupancy tax. This tax would then broaden that to include rentals that are rented through an online marketplace, the RVO, Airbnb, or a travel agency. So the 3% will be collected by the Treasury Department and then just to the municipality. Comments?
I think it's a great idea. I had no idea that we didn't do this, and the fact that we're charging our hotels and our, regular people are paying taxes and following the rules, and they're paying this occupancy tax to have, these online entities not. I think it's a shame, and I'm very happy to approve this.
I agree.
I also agree.
I agree.
I have no problem with it.
Okay, thank you. So we'll prepare that for the next meeting introduction. The next one is a proposed ordinance. It's a zoning amendment that pertains, slightly amends and that we put into effect not long ago. Originally, the language said that any flag would be mounted on a building at a certain height to allow for pedestrian clearance. We did allow an exemption for the number of American flags, but the ordinance did still require that it be mounted in that fashion. So we know that some of the businesses have had challenges in complying with this requirement. So this is a proposed amendment that would allow American flags to be installed in any manner as long as the pedestrian clearance is maintained.
It's fine with me.
Good with me.
Yeah, it's better this way.
The next one is a zoning, other zoning ordinance that it would prohibit some uses in business districts. This topic has come up before, where we are looking to alleviate single family standalone residences in the business district and require that there be a commercial component, single family, multi-family, and hotels and motels would be prohibited use in the business district. Comments?
I don't know, Jamie, did you want to run with this one or?
I'm not championing. Sorry.
Okay, well, just, when I saw this on the agenda, I started laughing. I'm like, again, because we went through this very, very heavily a couple of years ago, had special meetings, and it was kind of a very mixed bag. I think 10 years ago, this would have been a no-brainer. It should have been done probably 20 some years ago. Since then, we've seen a decline in our businesses. And to me, it's a very tough issue. As if a business, you're selling ice cream or t-shirts and you're paying, $30,000 in rent, you got to sell a lot of merchandise. So it is a concern. And the business owners came out and they were pretty vocal about it. I understand. And they were saying that, how can you do this to us? We always bought this property with the understanding we could sell and it could be whatever. And then others are saying, you've got to protect the business district at all cost. And I got to tell you, I do see both sides of this, because once upon a time, it would have been nothing but protect the business district. Now, with all the stores we see closing around town, on the island, up the island, I don't know. I said, I had mentioned a long time ago, I would love to see this on a referendum. However, I think now with Schooner's Wharf on the, for sale, that gives it more a sense of urgency. So I would really like to, I hate to be a fence sitter. That's like the worst thing. And everybody's like, yeah, right. But honestly, this is a tough one. So I would like to hear from the public.
Yeah, again, I could see both sides, and it's hard. I know I've talked to people that have bought, and their plan on retirement is to selling that property. And they'll sell it, I guess they'll probably get more for it as a single family or something like that, other than the business, but it's definitely a tough one.
Yeah, it's, the value of residential is so much higher than straight commercial that it's tempting, that's for sure. I think maybe, I wonder if we could, I know we have a business district, but would it be possible to shorten that business district so that it wouldn't, for example, go all the way to, is it Pearl? Is that the end of the business district?
Yeah, Pearl to 12.
It makes more sense if it's.
We brought that up
Yeah.
before.
And
So-
yeah, and that, I don't know, how did that go? I don't know.
Or to consider that it be for properties that have that abut Bay Avenue.
Mhm.
Not necessarily all of them will are to encompass the whole business district, but maybe that are along Bay Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that if AJ's wants to sell their property, it becomes a home. Not, if that doesn't bother me because it's pretty far down, but in the center of town, where to me is like the true business district from, I don't know, Sur La Plage to Robles, you know, or not even, maybe to, I don't know, to Mr. T's, and that makes more sense to me. I don't know. But it's something to look at. I don't want to, I think with all due respect to the mayor of Surf City, I think Surf City is a shame what's happening in Surf City. It's become just residential pretty much, and it doesn't seem to care about businesses in the town. I don't want that to happen here. And it's something that I think we should look at, and for certainly worth looking into.
I agree. I think we need to look at ways to help businesses be successful in Beach Haven. So that, and I think we need to think about this more. For example, instead of penalizing people, try to give them incentives to keep a business, such as perhaps lower tax rates, et cetera, that would make it easier for them to maintain and run a business. I mean, times change, and right now, yes, a lot of people buy online, but we do have a lot of new businesses in Beach Haven coming this summer that we haven't had in the past. And so I mean, Beach Haven does draw people because of the businesses. And I'd hate to see us lose that and see what's happening in Beach Haven as, you know, what's happening in Surf City. But I do think we need to look at this more carefully, and I do want to hear from the public as well, but I think we need to look at this and try to come up with positive solutions, not just negative solutions to this problem. It is a problem, and it's happening everywhere in the country, not just on the shore areas. Haddonfield's a very interesting town because it has a very vibrant business community, and they have worked very, very hard to maintain that and bring businesses into that town. We might want to talk to mayors and council people in some of these towns that have been able to maintain successful businesses before we make a decision on this.
I do have to say that I do think the business district is looking great. I mean, better than it's looked in years. The businesses look great. We have some brand new businesses that I think look really awesome. And I think we're all really proud of that. So
Yeah, I agree. I think we looked at this ordinance 3 years ago, and ever since then, I think that the business district, there's a lot of new businesses. We have the business district guidelines. I think that they have been very successful, but just to let the public be aware that currently now in the business zone, you can build anything. There are no prohibited uses as far as you can do single family homes, duplexes, multifamilies, with or without a business, which is, when I first came on council, I always thought that's a business district. Businesses, there will always be businesses there. But the way that our zoning is written, that's not the case. Now, Long Beach Township passed an ordinance 2 years ago that prohibited single family homes and duplexes and multifamily in their business district, but it was already pretty fragmented at that time. But they did pass an ordinance in their little business districts that has to be businesses or a multi-use building. That means a business component. However, just be aware that in Beach Haven, it could be lost at any time. A developer can come in and put a whole condo complex. That's a use that is allowed in the business district. So just be aware that at any time, we always want to support the businesses. But again, developers come in, they're not sometimes looking at the best interest, they're just looking at the most money. So we just have to be aware that that is out there. And that's always been a red flag for me. I support the businesses. I worked on the business district guidelines. I want the businesses to not be fragmented, to have a walking district, but be aware that that's always a possibility that and people don't like to be told what to do with their property. I understand that. However, we have another obligation to kind of protect the integrity of the town if we want a business district to continue in the future. And there is no such thing as giving businesses tax breaks. We've gone through that multiple times. Everyone, according to the New Jersey State Constitution, has to be held at the same taxes. You don't get a special discount because you're a business. Now, there's redevelopment plans and projects different than just giving a tax break. So that's not possible. We can incentivize businesses, we can pick up garbage like we've done, but just be aware. I'd like to see it on the referendum, if that's if you want the business district to stay the business district, or would you like continue allowed to have every single use? Because right now, that's it. Everything you can build whatever you want there. So just be aware that that's there. Just
That's a
Would you
good
be willing to
clarification.
Consider the referendum questions, knowing what could be on the line in school board.
I don't think that council is going to be comfortable with making a decision to prohibit any use in the business district. I don't think that, say that again. I'm not confident that council will change. I don't think that we will change the zoning. I think that we are so committed to the business district as is, and that's happened 2 years ago, that we don't want to, because a lot of the business owners, they don't want that. They want to be able to sell to to the highest, whatever they're going to get for their property. And I don't blame them. I would of course want that as well. But then again, we have to think of the integrity of the business district. And do we always want to have that?
And I think that's our duty, as part of our duty as a council member, for sure. I agree with you.
So I agree. It's a really tough decision.
It is.
Well, if you're considering a referendum question, now's really good time to discuss it. As a matter of fact, that's the next topic on the general discussion. I know we've tried 3 times prior to this, but the Parks and Recreation Committee also recommended that we try once more.
We didn't have
try
salad.
to implement the open space Green Acres tax. It's a 1% tax that would be put into a trust fund to acquire open space, or to maintain our existing open space. So just wanted to hear council's opinions, if you'd like this resolution to be placed on the next agenda for approval.
Question, Sherry, what is the last possible time that we have to place something on a referendum? Is it August?
Check the statute. It usually works back like so many days, maybe like 74 days is in my head, but there's a couple different statutes. So it's 74 or some number of days before the election. We have to-
Roughly like August. I don't know. I remember hearing that before.
I think it is around August.
Because I mean, if push comes to shove, we could do something earlier, but I really would like to hear from the public on this one. It's a biggie. It's going to change the future of our town one way or another.
Well, this has to be a referendum, Colleen. You can't do it without a referendum, so it has to be a referendum.
Well, we actually
And-
could,
Well,
but.
I think Colleen is now referencing back to the other.
I don't think so.
Right.
I think Nancy's.
Right. Oh, no, I'm
speaking
sorry.
about
No,
an
I'm
open
talking
space.
about the BD.
The zoning, you're talking about the zoning. The open
Well,
space.
now we're
thing
back
has
to
be a
open
referendum.
space.
The open space has to be a referendum, and because you're raising taxes. And believe me, I am totally in favor of it, but I tried so hard to have this passed 3 different times. I wrote articles every bloody week for the Sandpaper about the positive aspects of this. Barnegat Light was smart enough to do it a number of years ago, and they were able to buy that whole big tract of land from the Coast Guard only because they had open space. Because not only do you get that you have a money in a bank to buy it, but the state pays for a much higher percentage of the property for open space than if you do not have this, if you haven't passed this referendum. Within the period of time I was trying to get it passed in Beach Haven, it got passed in Long Beach Township. But I have to say, I worked like a dog to get it passed, and it didn't, it failed by a huge number of votes. It wasn't even close. So I mean, I would 100% support it, but it was very depressing. And unless there's some way we can convince our voters that this is for their best benefit, it probably will go the way it did the last 3 times, or maybe not. It's worth a try.
I think it would be great. we look and we see how we struggle to raise funds to maintain the parks that we have and the open space that we already have. And it's expensive. So I think that the idea of possibly buying and creating open space to me is very attractive. I can't imagine voting against it, and I will be voting for it. And I hope that everyone else will too.
Question. You're putting 1%, 1 penny, 100, I guess, in your taxes to support this. And it goes into a fund just for improving parks and increasing your amount of open space. In a way, it's a donation. Can people tax write off this at all? That might be a way, that you could convince people to vote for it, if they could take a write-off on it.
Well, Shari, our CFO, is shaking her head no. So that's my first.
Yeah, I think
I'm
she's
going to
probably
doubt
right.
it.
It's just wishful thinking. All right.
Okay, you ready to move on?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. We did receive some correspondence from the Director of the Division of Local Government Services that our budget document looks pretty good. They did make some recommendations for some changes to our budget document. So Shari did provide me with a budget amendment that unfortunately by law I have to read in full. So I'm probably going to put you all to sleep, but we have to go ahead and do the budget amendment, adopt that, and then, then we can move to consideration, public hearing on the budget, and then we'll consider adoption. So Resolution 134, 2024 is the budget amendment. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2024 was approved on April 25th, 2024, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Borough of Beach Haven in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2024 be made. Under anticipated revenues, the surplus anticipated will go from $3,778,424.54 to $3,754,567.88. Miscellaneous revenues, Section B, New Jersey Municipal Relief Fund will go from $0 to $23,476.02. Miscellaneous revenue, Section D, Code Enforcement and Construction Fees will go from $96,159.36 to $96,540. Total miscellaneous revenues will change from $1,189,049.49 to $1,212,906.15. Receipts from delinquent taxes 2023 realized in cash will change from $250,325.19 to $248,401.71. The subtotal of general revenues will remain static at $5,167,474.03. Total amount to be raised in support of the budget to 2023 realized in cash will change from $10,096,947.30 to $10,122,122.76. Total general revenue 2023 realized in cash will change from $16,669,245.03 to $16,692,497. Start again. $16,692,497.01. Under general appropriations, operations within caps, workers' compensation insurance from $209,960 to $225,630. Under total general appropriations, operations within caps will go from $11,084,190 to $99,860. General appropriations, operations excluded from caps, workers' compensation insurance from $60,040 to $44,370. Total general appropriations, operations excluded from caps, $3,676,574.78 to $3,660,904.78. Total general appropriations remain the same at $15,435,861.78. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Lambert,
Yes.
Capper,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. At this time, we're going to open the floor to public comment. If you have anything to say, please step up. You know the drill. State your name and address.
Real quick to summarize this budget. Taking the tax rate to 0.413. This budget, the total appropriations of salary and wage increased by 1.69%, while operating expenses decreased. The increases in liability insurance is 15.3% increase in
Wow.
liability, 23.85% in workers' compensation, and 17.8%. A combination of a tax increase and 46,000 budget and budget is funding 25% of the budget is funded with surplus. The water utility budget, the super utility budget.
Sorry, I apologize, but I guess I do want to say thank you very much, Sherry, for taking care of that. And Sherry, thank you always so much for all your hard work. I know it's not an easy job, and we're in good hands with the two of you. Thank you. So now at this time, did you have, you good? Now at this time, we'll open to public comment. Lori, did you want?
I just want some clarification.
Just please state your name. I know
Lori,
you've already done it, but
1001 West Avenue,
you.
Beach Haven. This agenda flyer says on teen night thing, the introduction was May 13th, first publication, May 23rd, adoption, May 30th. That's today. So we adopted an ordinance that we're not having teen night, right? Then this piece of paper says, further public notice is hereby given that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage. Does this even apply anymore? I'm just wondering, is this yes vote going to hold before it's actually put in?
So if we adopted today, May 30th, it was published on June 6th, as required by law. It will take effect 20 days after today, June 19th.
Okay,
So maybe the notice of that the copy is incorrect, which was actually certified
Yeah.
in the book, will take effect June 19th.
it just led me to believe there might be some like,
There's a publication and a 20-day wait. That's it.
okay, all right, good job, thanks.
Thank you, Lori. Anyone on Zoom? Let me see this gentleman, and then you're next.
Ladies first.
Ah, come on up.
Are you the budget?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, this time we're only taking budget.
Oh, you're only taking.
Just on the budget.
Oh.
Oh.
I thought it was public.
John?
I did too. Sorry, I'm not usually running the meeting and I
That's
did not
okay.
know that. I apologize
Teamwork,
to
teamwork.
everyone. Sorry.
John Halpern, 319 Fairview Avenue. Sherry, I want to thank you for responding. I do review this budget line by line and I have my questions, which I always have. What does that mean? A couple comments. It appears the surplus that was used is a little over 3,778,000. The taxes raised from general taxes went up 6.2%. And generally, when I see that, what I try to do is, what was the CPI increase? Because that's the rate of inflation. I noticed that the CPI increase from 2023 to 2024 was 3.2%. So then you ask yourself, why is the budget over the rate of inflation? And looking further, there were a few things that I noticed that were really outside the borough's control. One was the Police and Fire Retirement Fund, which is a statutory fund. That increased 24% or by $100,000. And the Employee Group Health went up $255,000. So if you take that away from that 6-point-some%, you're under the inflation rate. You're at 2.2%. So the other comment I had, I noticed in the budget, there's 15,000 allocated for the Park and Recreation Coordinator to come up with some programming ideas, which is very important now that we no longer have teen night. So I'm wondering why, if the committee recommended 30,000, why only 15 was in the budget? And personally, I think 30 is light. I mean, in terms of type of programming that we need, especially in terms of getting teenagers now engaged more and with adult accountability, I think we really have to look at, maybe not for this year, but for next year, look at that budget line item more carefully and fund our park and recreation programs. And I wrote a commentary in the paper a couple of weeks ago about some ideas of what those programs would look like. So that being said, my only comment is, since some of these expenses are beyond the borough's control, I would like to use our surpluses more for those type of expenses as opposed to increasing our taxes. We mentioned a 2-cent increase in taxes. Maybe balance that tax rate with the surplus in terms of the increase a little bit better. So the taxpayers only will have to pay for basically increases that deal with infrastructure issues. It was my only comment. And my last comment, and I looked at the water and utility budget, and unless my memory's fading, when we merged water and sewer this past year, the representation was there's going to be some savings. And I don't see any savings from the water utility budget in this budget. So I don't know if that's going to happen in the future, but I think that's something we should look at very closely. Okay, thank you.
Good questions. Thank you, Tom. Anyone else with a budget related question? Okay.
Okay. It's time, be it resolved by the council members of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated in the sums therein set forth as appropriations, and authorization in the amount of $9,037,869.39 for municipal purposes, and $1,230,518.36 for minimum library tax. I'll take a roll call. Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
said yes. You read her lips.
Yes, I don't know when you can't hear me. I don't know why.
Now we can. We're good.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
General revenues, surplus anticipated, $3,754,567.88. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $1,212,906.15. Receipts from delinquent taxes, $200,000. Amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes, $9,037,869.39. Amount to be raised by taxation minimum library tax, $1,230,518.36. Total revenues, $15,435,861.78. General appropriations within caps. Operations including contingent, $9,797,605. Deferred charges with statutory expenditures, $1,302,255. Excluded from caps, operations, $1,765,753.49. Capital improvements, $200,151.29. Municipal debt service, $1,695,000. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $675,097. Total appropriations, $15,435,861.78. Thank you for a balanced budget, Sherry. It is hereby certified that within the budget is a true copy of the budget finally adopted by resolution of the governing body on May 30th, 2024. It is certified that each item of revenue and appropriation is set forth in the same amount and by the same title as appeared in the 2024 approved budget and all amendments thereto, if any, which have been previously approved by the Director of Local Government Services.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Sherry.
you very much.
Thanks, Sherry.
That was a mouthful. All right. At this time, we're going to open the floor to public comment.
First of all, I'd like to
Sorry,
say-
name and address,
Oh,
please.
Yes, Diane Zillier, Unit 16, Renaissance Condominiums. I spoke to you at the last meeting, and having sat through this meeting, I saw the anguish on your faces as you tried to make a decision balancing public need and business need. And I have felt that anguish throughout the last summer as we tried to live with the changes that the Shell had made. And the noise was unbelievable. I'm here to ask a specific question. I did everything I was told. Go to the neighborhood watches, call the police multiple times, have the police in our house. I did everything that we could possibly do. We were constantly told that changes were going to be made. Can any of you speak to the fact, have any changes been made? Because having gone through Memorial Day weekend, we had the same problems that we had all last summer, okay? And I believe part of it is just you can't control that wind. And I don't know, can you speak, has there been any change in where that the stage is positioned or any change? Can you speak to any changes?
Could I make a comment? Basically, we don't use this as a, back and forth thing, but I'm in Florida now, but I was there on Friday and Saturday night. And I live a little farther than you, and there was a lot of wind, and I am somewhat deaf, but I think the Shell turned their music off at 11, but I could hear a lot of talking and noise coming in my window from there, but I can't really, I'm not sure about, the noise. I'm curious to know, was it that bad on the weekend? Was it at night?
I know why the music was turned off, but that is a personal matter, that something that occurred. And I was not part of it, but I do know why that music got turned off. And I don't think I should speak in a public setting to something that was a personal matter between another person and the shell. Okay, so they definitely turned it off, and oh God, that was so nice, because usually the only thing we have to pray for is rain and bad weather. Who prays for rain at the beach? Okay, we need.
Yeah.
So is anybody aware of anything?
Ms. Mason is going to tell you what.
So Monday night, June 10th, at 6 o'clock, we will be holding a public hearing on each license individually. I anticipate that we will have much public comment on the seashell renewal. Tom Hughes is aware that we have gotten quite a few complaints, and I requested that he attend that public hearing to hear the public and answer to the public and answer to the council. And if they are not satisfied, the council can propose additional special conditions be added to the license at that time.
Okay, well,
I have a question. Just when that happens, is Mr. Hughes or Miss, tied to, who are the bar owners, able to have a back and forth with individuals, or is it just comment?
No, it's
and
just
then
comments.
Just comments. Okay, that I just thought that maybe that's what
Chances are he
she
will
heard.
listen
Yeah,
until the
right.
end.
I just wanted to clarify
and then
that. Yeah.
address you.
Correct. Okay.
well, I don't know that any of you can imagine how difficult it is for somebody like us who've owned our property at Renaissance for 29 years and never complained. Okay. It is so hard. It is so hard to make that call to the police to have them come in the house when we know that they're dealing with teens and emergencies. And thank you.
Sorry for your, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Sir?
Hi, good evening. George Duguid, President of the Breakers Condo Association, 101 Ingleside. And to follow up with this lady's complaint, I live directly across the street from the Seashell, and I've all sent you an email recently about the upcoming liquor license. My question for you is, if you were to add an amendment to this liquor license as a condition, does that become immediate, or does that something that has to be, once again, announcement, then it's first meeting, second meeting, like some of these other ones?
No, the renewal is one reading. It's a resolution, not an ordinance. But then we do have to submit it to the director of the division, and they do have to confirm that the special conditions are all appropriate. But I don't think I've ever had a case where they did not support a special condition that we've added.
Okay,
As long as it's applicable to consuming alcoholic beverages.
okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Joel Sklargan, Renaissance Condos, 1 Center Street, Unit 17, neighbors of some of these people. And first off, sitting through today's council meeting, I have a real appreciation for all you do, and a lot of tough decisions to make and a lot of balancing of different interests. So thank you.
Thank you.
In terms of the noise, I get, and the issue with the liquor license, I'm just very curious as to if there are conditions made on the liquor license, what type of monitoring is done for compliance? And people can say a lot of things when they want to get something like a business getting a liquor license, but then who holds them accountable for, forcing them through.
The enforcement agency for special conditions on a liquor license is the police department.
Okay, so it would be the local police then who,
Yeah.
okay, would they have any protocol set up with regular monitoring or as a result? And
Yeah, they do spot checks, and if it's a special condition that pertains to noise, they're gonna know that they're in violation. It's gonna be pretty obvious.
okay, yeah, this is a beautiful place to live, a great community. One of the frustrations so lately is knowing the noise issue that we're having is when I drive around town and see all the signs that we have up about the noise ordinance and after 10 PM and et cetera. And then knowing that it's, one in a flagrant way that it's not being adhered to, it's just very unsettling. But anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you. John?
I promise my last comment.
No, that's okay.
Just a thought on the open space referendum we all were talking about earlier today, and I mentioned this when the Parks and Recreation Committee was making their recommendations. Maybe when we draft this referendum, we earmark it and be very specific on what the funds are going to be used for in Beach Haven. If it means beautification of Veterans Park, as an example, if people can relate to exactly what those monies are going towards, it may have a better chance of passing the referendum.
It must be placed in a trust for open space preservation, for acquisition or maintenance of open space.
Would that be applied to playgrounds? Just
Yes.
having-
Yeah.
So those are the types of things we need to do.
Right.
We need to,
So you can't indicate a location if it's placed in a trust?
I guess you could, but I mean, can't be used for anything but that.
Yes, I know that, but
You want to be a little more
we
specific.
want to,
yeah,
yeah.
so the.
So you know what you're getting, a bang for your buck.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly what the Beach Haven voters are voting on.
Well, I think we can do that, but we still, like, for instance, when the property came up on the boulevard and somebody notified us and we didn't have the money, we could have obtained that with this open,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have that. So if we say it's for the parks, then we're really handcuffing ourselves, actually.
True.
We want to be able to have the latitude to go after different
Yeah,
things.
it's more than that. Yeah. Good point. Anyone else? Oh, all right. Then at this time, we will close the meeting to public comment and we will move on to final remarks by council. We start with Nancy tonight, since she's on Zoom.
Well, I don't have many remarks, but I appreciate everybody's concern and care for the community. And that's what really counts. We might have different opinions and we vote differently, but I think we all feel strongly about Beach Haven and we want it to be as great a place as we know it is. And it is. So anyway, with that, I will say nothing more and have a great rest of the week and weekend coming up. I'll be home soon.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Colleen?
Welcome.
I want to express our condolences on behalf of the borough to the Mitchell family on the loss of our beloved employee, Eileen Mitchell. Eileen retired on May 1st after working the Beach Haven Library for 40 years. She will be greatly missed. I also want to thank the members of the Beach Haven Community Arts Program, the entire crew, the VFW, and everybody who participated in our annual Memorial Day Parade and service. A special thank you to all the groups that marched, our police department, fire, first aid, water safety. Councilwoman Kitty Snyder gave a very nice speech. And a special shout out to all of the brave people who stayed out in the lousy conditions and stood in the rain to show their support. Thank you.
Mr. McCaffrey?
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody for their emails, especially on this teen night issue. Most of the emails, I'd say probably about 90-something% of them were all for getting rid of teen night. And a lot of points were brought up to us and everything else. And I read through all of them. And that's one of the reasons, one one of the reasons why I voted the way I did. And the other is just basically public safety. Again, my sympathies go out to the Mitchell family, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I also would like to extend my sympathies to the Mitchell family. They're Beach Haven, Epic Beach Haven, wonderful family. And Miss Eileen will be sorely missed. Even behind the mask, you knew she was smiling, you know, she had a lovely smile. She was a lovely person. I don't think you could say one bad thing about her. In fact, her granddaughter, or her daughter rather, the other day was saying that she really never said anything bad about anyone. She said, well, except two people. I'm really dying to know who those two people are because they must be awful. It was me, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know they will miss her terribly. And anyway, that's it. And yeah, we had a nice, very miserable, rainy Memorial Day celebration, but Cap did a really good job. And thank everyone for that. And that's it. Thanks for all for coming and for sitting through even the budget talk. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a great day and a nice week. Oh yeah, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Meeting
you.
adjourned.
And obviously not good at running a meeting.